Hey, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Toy Lines podcast. We have a great show for you today. We have Blake Wright, author of The Toys That Time Forgot. We're celebrating his launch of his Kickstarter for Volume 3. So sit back and enjoy, and we'll see you in a minute. Hey everyone, thanks for enjoying that intro. I'm Tom Romero. With me is
Ian, my stuff.
Ian. We have a great guest with us today.
Indeed.
This is his second time on Toy Lines. I can't believe he came back, but I'm very appreciative. Mr. Blake Wright, author of Toys That Time Forget. He's promoting Volume 3 of his
trilogy
of his history. I mean, this thing is an incredible tome for any toy enthusiast. I mean, even the cover is fantastic. How you doing, Blake? Thanks for coming.
Well. Yeah, doing well, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Thank you.
Here's some Toy Lines trivia for you, Blake. You are amongst, I don't know, what would you say, Ian? 10 guests we've had so far? You are our most downloaded guest ever. I mean, you even beat out Kevin Eastman.
Wow.
Yeah. So congratulations and thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'll wear that badge proudly.
So how are you dealing with COVID now? I mean, we're in a different world since last time we spoke.
I mean, I'm dealing with it just like everyone else is. I'm not doing much. Haven't eaten in a restaurant since March of last year. Haven't gone to the movies. Haven't traveled. I was at Toy Fair in New York in February of 2020.
Wow.
And
yeah, we all were.
Yeah. So when I got home, about 2 weeks later, I was sick.
Really?
And I figured, well, that's just the con crud, you know. But I felt really bad, and I don't normally go to the doctor when I feel bad, but I went to the doctor.
Wow.
And they didn't know at the time if I had it or not. I come to think that it wasn't it, just because the symptoms were different than what most people attribute to COVID. But at the same time, there were back in March of 2020, there were no tests out there yet. They were just starting to roll this stuff out. So I just chalked it up to getting the con crud. He gave me a Z-Pack and I took him and I felt better. But yeah, I mean, it definitely had its challenges on Volume 3 because of the fact that, I was not able to travel like I normally would to go visit some of these people. And, get their stories and be able to photograph what they had or scan what they had. But fortunately, I had a lot of leftover material from Volume 2 and Volume 1 for that matter, because you can only fit so much into these books before they start weighing too much and it cost a mint to ship them. It already cost a mint to ship them. So I didn't want to get them too much bigger than what they are. And actually I had a really good run at the end of last year where folks were actually sending me material through the mail.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which was really nice. Yeah, it was, I think at this point I had built up enough credibility inside some of the ranks of former toy employees and that sort of thing where, you get a voucher over here who vouches for you for this guy over here. And,
right.
And then you send them maybe a copy. If you get, like I have a few dinged copies of the books, and someone says I'm really interested, so I'll send them, a copy of the book, and then they get it. If they didn't get it before, they get what I'm doing. They go, oh, okay, well, yeah, let's talk. And then the next thing you know, you get a gigantic box in the mail, and I have people mailing me prototypes through USPS.
Wow,
which is nuts. Yeah, but. I was very thankful for it.
Sure. Now, when did you do any traveling at all, or was it
just
at your house? Oh,
yeah, we just did. I mean, there was a lot of Zoom type calls.
Right.
a lot of phone interviews, did some email back and forth, did some Facebook chats, did everything I could. But no, I haven't been on a plane since coming home from New York Toy Fair.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the Kickstarter is February 10th. Now, usually, I believe the first 2 volumes came out in February as well, correct?
Yeah, the plan was to have the Kickstarter going during Toy Fair.
Right.
So so the last one funded at Toy Fair, which was kind of neat.
Cool.
The first one didn't fund until the last day, which was extremely stressful.
Wow.
Or the last day and a half or something like that. It was right at the end. I was sweating it. But it was always good to be able to go to Toy Fair, because the last couple of Toy Fairs I spoke, gave a little presentation.
Oh, cool.
As part of their program. But it was good to be able to say, hey, yeah, this is this book, blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, here's the crowdfunding campaign. Check it out. And so that came in really handy. But at the same time, I knew Toy Fair wasn't going to happen this year, but I didn't feel the need to break it up. I was just like, we've rolled with it. It's been 2 years every February for the past 2 issues, or the past 2 editions. So let's just go ahead and keep it February for volume 3.
Sure, give somebody to do that in quarantine.
Yeah,
pick up a good book.
Yeah, exactly.
So I believe that every episode is somebody's first. So just a brief introduction, if you will. Where did you get the idea for Toys That Time Forgot?
The book idea came from a magazine that I produced for 1 year online, 2014. There was a quarterly toy magazine that I did called Little Plastic Men. And in that magazine, there was a recurring column called Prototypically Unproductive. And it was all about unproduced toys. We did the second series of Sectors, second series of Earthworm Jim. We talked about Soda. When Soda toys went out, they didn't go out of business, they got sold. But the toys that didn't come out after they were sold. And I think Palisades, Sesame Street was in there.
Okay.
So those 4 were expanded upon and put in volume 1. But when I decided to shut down the magazine because I made the mistake of making it free to read, and I was hoping it was going to be advertising revenue that would come in. Well, that didn't work out. So I was like, well, I can't keep doing it for free. So and it was going to be kind of labor intensive to go back and change the format to make it pay to read. So I was like, well, let's just shut it down and just I'll go about my business. And then so that old adage where you say that you never hear from anybody until you try to take something away from them. So I didn't hear a peep from anybody the whole time I'm putting this magazine out. Well, the minute I said, oh, by the way, this is the last issue, it's been a good run, all these emails started coming in about no, hey, we really enjoy this. What's going on? Well, I even got a phone call from a guy who was like trying to help me come up with ways to monetize it. And I was like, at that point, my heart really wasn't even in it 100%, because I was doing some other things as well. And but it was humbling. I was like, oh, well, that's cool that a lot of people, at least a handful of people, cared about it or whatever. And so I said to myself, okay, I'll do 1 more issue, and I'll make it all unproduced toys, because that's what people seem to like the best. So I started researching it, and this would have been at the end of 2014, like November-ish. And I was like, wow, there's a lot of stuff out here, and some of it's pretty cool. This really deserves to be more than a PDF on the internet. Someone should actually do a book on this stuff. And so come to February of 2015, and Toy Fair was coming back around. I still had my magazine credentials, so I went. And on an iPad, I had dummied up like 20 pages of what a book might look like.
Oh, cool.
And I took it around to NECA and Playmates and Super 7 and all these guys, and basically showed it to them and asked them to talk me out of doing it. And nobody did. Everyone was kind of excited about it, wanted to know how they could help.
Why did you want them to talk you out of it?
Because I didn't really want to do it. I mean, I had never written a book before.
Okay.
And I knew that there was a ton of research
right
ahead of whoever, decided to do that. Because yes, there's a lot of stuff out on the internet, but guys, it ain't close to being all out there. I mean, you got to think, when did the internet really come into vogue? It's not even 20 years old.
Yeah.
So even toys back in the 90s. So when did digital cameras come into vogue? Mid 90s. So anything before 1995, someone would have to deliberately go and place it on the internet.
Yeah, unless they're a toy guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and the stuff from the 80s, forget it. I mean, you're talking Polaroids and slides, as far as pictures. So it's just not happening, especially for stuff that was unproduced. So, I ended up coming back from that toy fair and I told my wife, "Hey, it looks like I'm writing a book." She was like, "Oh, great." So yeah, that started the journey that ended with volume 1 2 years later.
It sounds like your the original PDF thing that you were doing there. It was it's like the backbone of the book, of what became this trilogy of books.
Yeah, I mean, it really was what started it. I mean, back when, I have a guitar magazine that I do online that I produce bi-monthly. So once every 2 months. Originally, it was once a quarter. So after the first year of the guitar magazine, I was like really excited about this template that I had created and wanted to see if I could plug another industry into this template and do another magazine. So that's what ended up happening with Little Plastic Men. I took out the guitars and amps and effects pedals and put in the play sets, vehicles, and figures, and it became a toy magazine. And I had a lot of fun doing it. I was still traveling. We were interviewing. I interviewed Scott Hinsey and David Varner in there, or Steve Varner, not David Varner. Two of the guys that are sculpting legends. Between those two guys, that's every Playmates Ninja Turtle figure ever created, almost, at least the vintage line. Them in their shops, at least. So yeah, it was. I had a lot of fun putting it together, but at the end of the day, I was doing it. All that was coming out of my pocket. I wasn't earning any money from doing that magazine. So I was like, well, something's got to give. But then it morphed into this, which, 6 years later, I wouldn't have dreamed this would have happened, that I would be where I'm at right now, staring down, the third volume of this book.
So let's talk about volume 3.
Okay.
If you can just give us a hint, what type of rewards will be in this Kickstarter right now? Besides the book.
Yeah. I wanted to I will tell you first and foremost, I'm interested in selling books.
Okay.
I'm not interested in selling t-shirts or any of that stuff. But at the same time, I realized that the way Kickstarter functions is you need reward levels. Yeah. So there are some interesting rewards. This is the first time we're going to do a deluxe set.
Oh, wow.
So there'll be you'll get a copy of volume 3, but you'll also get, I won't say exactly what you'll get, but you'll get other paraphernalia.
Awesome.
So, your standard sticker, pin, keychain, that sort of thing.
Okay.
As part of, I had some help coming up with a little logo that I liked. There's a little homage to Return of the Jedi and something, because that's the third movie. This is the third book.
Nice.
There's some other things that I'm also trying to pull together. I've done some work on this one item as part of the deluxe set that we're not really going to see. You're not even going to see it yet in the in the Kickstarter because I haven't come up with the right design for it yet, but it will be part of the package. I mean, that's kind of the benefit of this. You can tell people that this is going to be it, but ultimately it doesn't have to be delivered until the fall or whenever the book actually appears.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you. So the Kickstarter is launching on the 10th.
Yeah.
When is the book actually going to ship? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I mean, I can guess. I mean, it's all a guess, really. I mean, the book, as of right now, the book is about 90% written.
Okay.
All I have left to do is it's just like the other 2 books. It's broken up into those 3 sections.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Golden Age, Darker Times, and the Gilded Age. Well, each of those section headers has like 200 words, that talks about the decade.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to write those headers. I need to write the introduction, and I need to do the thank yous at the back of the book. And it's pretty much written after that. I've done all the chapters. The chapters have been written. Half of the book is in layout right now. So it's sent over to my buddy Josh Seaton, who has done the layout for the first 2 books. So I will be going to visit him. He's about 200 miles west of me. Wow. So I'll be going to visit him probably a few weekends from now, hang out with him so we can finish out. We've done most of it remotely like this.
Mm-hmm.
I keep these little books.
Oh, awesome.
That I basically draw the layout. I take a picture of each page and send it to him with all the pictures, so he knows where to place things.
Oh, that's cool.
But some of it will need some tweaking, and we're going to do that in person.
Are they all color photos, or do you have black and white photos in there as well?
I think the majority of what shows up in there is color. But sometimes you only have black and whites to go with. I can't recall anything right off the top of my head where I've only had a black and white though. So most of it will be in color.
Cool.
Now there's a rumor going around that there's going to be a price increase this time around.
There is.
Okay.
So historically the book has been $50.
Right.
And there's been an early bird, I think, of $45 for the first 100 people that get in on the Kickstarter. Basically everything's bumped up a little bit. So the early bird will be $55 for the first 100, and the book is going to be $60 standard.
Cool. Now, is that just a break even, like rising costs?
Yeah, I mean, that should have happened with volume 2, truthfully.
Oh, wow, okay.
Volume 2 cost me 28% more than volume 1 did, and I didn't raise the price. So I'm assuming, I really haven't even gotten a firm quote on what this one is going to cost me, but I've got an idea. So that was the reason for the price increase. I mean, given the fact that there's some, there are a lot of books out there that are priced higher than mine for information that is at least somewhat comparable. I mean, there's nothing out there like Toys at Time for God. So,
and it's a great book. I mean, it's well written. I mean, the layout's beautiful. I mean, you've found so many pictures and sculpts, and I mean, it's a wonderful book, both volumes. I mean, I can't wait for volume 3.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people were asking me. What the hell could you possibly have put in volume 3 that you haven't already done? It's like, man, I swear to you, I could write 10 of these books and still not be done.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, has there ever been some stuff that maybe too much or too little that you couldn't put in either volume?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, the rule of thumb for a chapter in the book is I got to make 6 compelling pages. If I can do 6 compelling pages off a toy line, then it's in consideration for the book. That said, there are 2 chapters maybe in this book in volume 3 that are going to probably come in at around 20 pages a piece.
Wow.
Or near, or 18 to 20. And one of those lines has never been seen, I don't think.
Wow.
And I have 20 pages on it. So come on, what the hell is that? It's pretty amazing. I mean, you think, like you said, you think you've seen it all, or at least heard about it all, and
something pops up.
Case.
So, with your 6 pages for the guideline of a chapter, does that include the pictures, or is that just words?
Yeah, no, that's the whole shebang.
Okay.
So, some of the word count in volume 1 is barely 20,000 words. It's not a long read at all. There may be a few more words in volume 2 than volume 1, just because it's a little bit longer. Volume 3 is going to have more words in it than both the first books, just because the stories are, the more you uncover stuff that's never been seen, the more you need to tell and explain about what you're looking at. I mean, some of it's pretty self-explanatory, but then some of it's not. So, and it's been, a luxury for me to get a hold of some of these people that actually worked on these toy lines to be able to give me, the accurate feedback and the accurate story from, the guys that were there in the room.
So with your previous 2 books, there most likely had to be things you had to cut out for weight, or like you mentioned before. How hard is it when you have to decide
to pick?
Yeah.
I found over the course of making these books that the cream rises to the top. So, right now I have an outline that's probably got about 60 toy lines on it. And right now I think in the actual breakdown of the 3 sections of the book, I'm looking at 24 lines. So right now there's 8 in the Golden Age, 8 in the Darker Times, and 8 in the Gilded Age. Now those have fallen off and been replaced, and then those have fallen off and been replaced. And as more information comes in, the kind of, like I said, the cream rises up onto that list. And I know that right now there's one line that's on the list that I really want to include, but I'm a couple of images short of making that 6 compelling pages. So I'm trying to find more imagery for it. And I've got somebody on the job, so hopefully I'll be able to include that. But that one could fall off and be replaced, still, because nothing's really locked in yet.
So with everything that eventually, when this book goes to print, everything that falls off, you're going to still have all this information.
Mm-hmm.
What do you plan on doing with it?
I don't know.
I
don't.
It's a good situation to be in, though.
Yeah, I mean, I basically told everyone that I would do 3 of these books, and I'm sticking to that for now.
Right.
I have other things I want to do beyond Toys That Time Forgot. Although I will say, if Volume 3 performs, outstandingly and just goes nuts, well, then I would kind of be hard pressed to walk away, given the fact that the material is still out there. Let's just say right now, I don't foresee a volume 4 coming in the next 2 years. There'll be something. I'll move on to something else. There are a couple of things that I've already got semi lined up that I would like to pursue. It's just a matter of doing them.
No, I'm sorry to keep asking questions, Tom, but the name of the book is a great name. And has anybody ever approached you for like a TV show, like a documentary TV show on toys? Because it would really sound like it would make a great show on a streaming network.
I can't really talk about that.
Okay, that's just good enough. No problem.
No, I can say this. I've taken meetings about it.
Cool.
Will that happen? Your guess is as good as mine. But there's been meetings about it.
How did you get the name? The Toys That Time Forgot.
It's not. It's kind of one of those things that it's not, because you always see stuff like this that time forgot, the land that time forgot, a land before time, or land, this, that.
Land of the Lost.
And yeah, Land of the Lost. And so there was that Pixar movie, the toys that.
Oh, Yeah, the Pixar Christmas short, right?
Toy Story that time forgot.
Yeah.
And I really didn't think about that when I put this together. It was just, I think I just wrote it down as a placeholder, really, and that became the title. I made a folder on my desktop and put Toys That Time Forgot, and just that was where we just put it over there. Because originally it was just going to be called Unproduced.
Oh, cool.
Point. And a lot of people that I ran the titles through actually liked that a lot better than Toys That Time Forgot.
Really?
But once that I put it on the page, or once I put it on a cover, I was like, I like that better. There's actually a store, a vintage toy store in Canal Fulton, Ohio, called The Toys Time Forgot.
I think I've seen that on Instagram.
Yeah, and a lot of folks, or some folks said I took my title from that store, which is not really true. I have been to that store, and it's a wonderful store. Go check it out if you're ever in that area. It's beyond amazing. But yeah, so that's that. The title was really just kind of a serendipitous thing I pulled out of the sky. I mean, was I thinking of Pixar or that store or something else? Maybe, who knows?
So volume 3 is out, and I'm sure you get this all the time. As collectors, we want the whole set. So is there any possible way we can find volumes 1 and 2?
Yeah, there is. Volume 2 is still in stock.
Okay.
So I have copies of Volume 2. Big Bad Toy Store has copies of Volume 2. Volume 1 has been out of print for a while now. Sold out probably within a year of it coming out. I will be doing everything in my power to reprint Volume 1 this year. As a matter of fact, when the Kickstarter goes live, watch the video and watch to the end. That's all. I'll leave it at that.
Sounds great.
Do you think you'll write a new intro to it?
There was talk about, why don't I do kind of a special edition, Lucasify, that thing, maybe expand and make a few pages longer, one chapter, or insert a bonus chapter and all that stuff. And the more I thought about it, it's like, well, no one's asking for that. They're asking for the book.
I'm going to ask for it now, though, now that you said it.
Yeah, well, who knows? But they're asking for what they can't get now. So I think initially the plan is to just reprint as is, except for there's a few mistakes that are in there that I'm going to go back. Nothing factual, just a couple of typos that we've spotted that we're going to go back and fix. And then there are a couple of graphic anomalies that kind of rub me the wrong way that I'm going to go in and repair. And then so we'll put the book out. Basically, it'll just be a second printing of the initial book.
Now, reading
I'm doing everything in my power to make that happen. I don't not want people to have the book.
Now, reading the first 2 chapters and then doing some research. So the first chapter, I believe, was dedicated to your wife.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was dedicated to toy collectors.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've read, correct me if I'm wrong, that this 3rd volume is for you.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate on that a little?
Well, it's kind of it's a little nudge and wink kind of thing. I mean, the first one, of course, my wife's been amazing during this whole process. She's been right there. If you got a book from us, it was either packed by me or her. And we did a ton of all the Kickstarter fulfillment came from just us two.
Wow.
So so she's my rock. She's awesome. Couldn't do it without her. The second one, I was just kind of the whole idea of, hey brothers, we're in this together. And and let me show you something you've never seen before, which is the whole punchline to this whole thing. I want to show you something you've never seen before. And so it was like, okay, I took care of the wife. I took care of the
community.
And so, well, what about me? So this one's going to be for me. It's like I just like the idea of putting on that page. This one's for me.
Nice. Well, it's well deserved.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So there's a bit of that. I mean, because all the travel I did and all this stuff came out of my pocket. I wasn't funded.
Oh, sure.
This was just me going around. To L.A., to Connecticut, to to Seattle, to Boston, to San Diego. We were flying. We were going all over the place, trying to hunt this stuff down. Ohio.
It sounds like you have a book just about
making a book.
About making a book, yeah.
If I'd have took better notes, we probably could have done something about that. People have asked, it's like, well, why didn't you take a camera with you? You could have made a documentary of putting together this whole thing while you're on the road. And I was like, you know what? That would have been awesome. The only problem is that there was only two of us, so that would have been hard to be. If we would have brought a crew around, and plus a lot of these guys invited me into their homes never have met me for the first time. Be a little awkward to like say, oh, by the way, here's the crew. We're going to film this. So I don't think I would have had quite the access that I had initially had I been lugging a camera crew around.
So this question is kind of like what people always ask of somebody who does something like this. But so you've done this 3 times and all the work involved, and I'm sure there's a lot of late nights and stress and all that. Knowing that now, would you go back and do it all over again?
Yeah. Just if only for the friends that I've made during the whole process. I told my wife, and I've said this publicly before. I said, if for whatever reason, Volume 1, we did all that work for Volume 1, and for whatever reason it couldn't be printed, or like the Kickstarter failed, let's say, I wouldn't have taken back a minute of the process. I made friends for life. I get Christmas cards from people who I met on this journey. I get random phone calls, just not even to talk about toys, just to say how you doing. I made some wonderful friends and future contacts and all that stuff. It's been great. And that's my one regret about having to do, Volume 3 more remotely, was not having that experience, because there's something about being able to go to someone's house or go to their town and meet them on their terms, either at their place or at a bar or a restaurant or wherever they want to meet if they don't want you at their house. And you just get a better story. They'll open up more. They're comfortable. They get comfortable with you. They're comfortable with their surroundings, and they forget that the tape recorder's on.
Right.
They just talk, and you don't get that over email. You don't get that over the phone as much. You can, but it's
a lot tougher, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it's so much easier doing it face to face, and so much more rewarding, truthfully.
Now, I heard in Volume 3 you've done the impossible. You've actually found people that used to work at LJN.
Yeah. Yeah, finally. I didn't have LJN in the first 2 books, and it was like one of those things where it's like, well, why is this such a tough nut to crack? And, I finally realized that I had a friend whose husband worked in the software division of LJN for a while.
Oh, wow.
So I went and talked to them, and he gave me a couple of names of guys on the toy side. And I finally reached out to someone who returned my call. And as a result, I think LJN has 3 entries in Volume 3.
Oh, that's awesome.
Including one that no one's ever heard of. I'm pretty sure.
Wow. Okay. So any Thundercats stuff or Tiger Sharks?
Tiger Sharks.
Tiger Sharks. Okay. Any of the wrestling figures?
No, not wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Tiger Sharks is in there. There's another one that's the one that no one knows about is in there. And then V is in there.
Oh, with the
awesome.
The 80 show?
Yeah.
I remember them making a doll for that, but there was a toy line that was going to be made.
Yes.
Interesting. That's so funny that you say that, because I just saw a picture of it on Instagram of, like, remember if you saw the show in the 80s, You Were Cool or something like that.
Right.
And I remember watching that as a kid. And the best part was always them peeling their faces off.
Right. So you'll see there's a teaser of that spread, because when the Kickstarter goes live, you'll be able to scroll down, and just like the last book, and I think maybe for the first one too, I pulled 3 opening chapter spreads so people could get an idea about what they're gonna see, and the first one's V.
Oh, very cool.
So you'll be able to see a little bit of at least what the initial pages for V will look like.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, there was a 4-inch or a 3 3/4 inch line planned.
Oh, cool.
But because, and it was based off of the television series.
Okay.
So the 85 television, not the miniseries that preceded it.
Right.
So not the first one, not Final Battle. So it was whatever the television. And when the television series kind of tanked, because the original writer wasn't involved with the television show, and then LJN's like, well, we're not gonna follow through with that since the show is not performing well,
Right.
and then subsequently it was canceled. So
Right. That was a good show.
Yeah. So we took some fan requests to send out questions. So this one's from Stephanie in LA. Will we see any more figures in the toy lines that you have already covered? Something like an update?
Not in volume 3. I mean, I really wanted to focus on new material, and with more of a focus on stuff that no one's ever seen before. I really wanted this one, and that kind of goes back to this one's for me, because that's what I really dig. I want to see this stuff that's like, holy moly, what is this even? What is this? So eventually, there may be updates to, like I said, I could special edition each of these books and make them a little longer, and because they're, once people see a lot of this material in these books, they go, well, I knew a guy that had some of that, or the guy that worked for him he's the guy that kept all that, so I get, an email with an image that I've never seen before, or related to a line that I've already covered. So I keep all that, sure. I mean, so eventually, perhaps down the road, we will see either, special editions of the existing books, or maybe, like I said, a best of that combines select chapters from each of the 3 books into one, and maybe some of those chapters get expanded beyond what they were in the original books.
That's awesome. Yeah. So this one's from Kevin F. in Florida. Besides memories, what souvenirs have you collected throughout all 3 volumes, if any?
Yeah, a lot of people have asked, man, have you bought any of this stuff? I mean, look, good grief, you've seen so much. I have made 2 transactions for 3 figures. All of it related to Earthworm Jim.
Really?
Because I loved Earthworm Jim as a cartoon.
And you're a big Cole fan as well.
Yeah, I regret not jumping on that stuff when I had it, when it was available. But I bought a painted hard copy of Evil Jim, a wax of a figure called Clutch that was supposed to be in the first series, and it was a Playmates invention. It was not canon to the Earthworm Jim story. And I have a unpainted hard copy of Samurai Jim. All that. Those 2 were supposed to be in Wave 2. And I have since acquired a hard copy of the Hamsternator, who was in Wave 2. A lot of prototype collecting, especially for unproduced stuff, is a fairly expensive endeavor. So I'm probably, my days of that will be fairly limited, and probably just hang around properties like Jim that I really, really dig. I started collecting 2D stuff from Jim from that line. I don't know if you can see it, but
Oh, okay.
that back there, that is the original pencil on vellum of, I think, Copterhead Jim. And above it is the original pencil on vellum of Extendo Arm Jim.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, cool.
Both non-produced Wave 2 figures. And I have a bigger drawing pencil on vellum of the Jim Copter, the motorcycle, that they didn't produce, but I have to get it framed still.
Very nice. So after the success of this comes from Peter J. from Iowa. After the success of the first 2 volumes, did anyone change their mind or felt slighted in any way from the first 2 volumes?
What does that mean, felt slighted?
Did anyone not agree, I guess, what he's trying to
did I get any backlash from
be
people?
right?
None that I can recall. Nothing publicly to me like you got that wrong or that's not the way it happened. Now, I will say this, and it's a caveat for everything I do. I'm only as good as the information I receive.
Right.
And I do my best to vet it between as many sources as I possibly can. So just because one guy says it, one guy could have a vendetta on that guy and, still after however many years. So I do my best to vet the stories, and I need to get, as many people as I can talking about the same thing. And once you hit that 3 to 4 people giving you the same story, well, you're pretty much there. But I haven't gotten any feedback from anybody saying that either I got something dead wrong or that's not the way that happened or anything like that. And hopefully that doesn't happen.
Right. So what is Moonman Zero?
Moonman Zero is a IP that I came up with back in 2008 that was originally supposed to be a webcomic. I ultimately did not see that through because it was a much bigger commitment than I was prepared to or equipped to handle at the time. My day job my responsibilities there had gotten fairly out of control. So I resurrected it a couple of years after. About in 2010, I was going to do it as a comic book or a graphic novel, and ultimately the one publisher that I had in mind passed on it. So I just kind of put it away in a folder, and these were drawings that I had done originally, and forgot about it until last year, or I guess late 2019. I forget, we're 2021 now. And I pulled it back out right during the big animation boom for the streaming services. Everybody was looking for animation, and animation was the one thing in Hollywood that proved pretty much COVID proof. Guys, everyone could still work from their homes and get animation produced, whereas a lot of these sets were shut down. So I was like, well, maybe I can look at this as an animated thing. And so the original idea was to do a 5 to 6 minute short, like proof of concept for it. And when I started poking around and asking the people in the business, well, that was going to be a fairly expensive proposition. Animation is not cheap. So I thought maybe I would go and maybe I could raise some money via Kickstarter for the pilot. But then I felt it was important to get something out ahead of anything like that. So what I ended up settling on was I'm in the middle of producing a 2 to 3 minute teaser trailer animatic. Now, what an animatic is, if you're used to seeing what animation storyboards look like, it's basically storyboards that are glued together to form rough animation. And usually it's, you go in and do all the sound, the Foley work for sound effects and music and all that stuff. And so it plays like a rough animation. But it's something visual that will give you an idea about the world and the characters that are involved. So yeah, kind of think of it as a movie trailer, but done in animatic form. I was lucky enough to find a professional storyboard artist that took my rudimentary drawings and is transforming them into something that's turning out really cool. I couldn't be more pleased with how things are going, and should have all the art done sometime in the next couple of weeks, and then it's on to getting the sounds plugged in. So sometime this spring, hopefully, we'll be able to debut a Moon Man Zero teaser trailer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Then maybe the next step is to do the Kickstarter for an actual pilot episode.
Very nice. Yeah, that was going to be my last question for you. What's next for Blake Wright?
Yeah, who knows? There's a couple of projects out there. I mean, the animation thing obviously is one of them. I had an idea where I was going to do the Toys That Time Forgot treatment to the world of computer adventure games from the 80s, 90s, and aughts, which would involve me basically taking projects that got to a certain point in development, but for whatever reason never made it out. And if you're thinking, well, there's probably not a lot of games that applies to, you'd be wrong. Again, there are tons, and I found a bunch of them. And I did a lot of work on this book, actually. Talked to a ton of folks from Sierra, LucasArts, a lot of independent guys who had their hands in doing some stuff back in the day as well. Progress stopped on that book about maybe 6-8 months ago, when I was told basically that Disney would have my rear end if I did this.
Wow.
Because they own LucasArts now.
Mm-hmm.
So going out there and putting out information about unproduced LucasArts games probably wasn't the best idea. So
it's almost like
I want to do it. I really do. And like I said, I've done a ton of research on it already. I think my step might be to actually write up a LucasArts chapter. Just go ahead and do one, lay it out, and try to get representation to get it to Lucas to say, hey, this guy wants to do this.
Yeah.
Would you be up for it? There was a book done in 2008 before the merger called Rogue Leaders, the story of LucasArts. And it was done by a guy named Rob Smith, and it's hard to find now. It's out of print. But he talks about a lot of these games. I mean, he doesn't do a lot of showing graphically what the games would have looked like some of the pre-production art or whatever. Because, I mean, the very first thing you do when you're designing a game is you write your outline, and then you get a bunch of artists around and said, okay, let's draw up what this thing might look like. So there's a ton of art related, a ton of 2D art related to video game development, at least back then. I'm sure the same thing now. So there's a lot to show. It's just a matter of, are you going to piss somebody off by doing it? In the Rogue Squadron or the Rogue Leaders book, like I said, there's some imagery in there, but not a lot. But a lot of these games are mentioned by name, but they say basically that they just didn't make it for whatever reason. But I would like to really showcase the games and the art involved. But we'll see. It's not totally dead in the water, but I am not that optimistic, truthfully. There was another book that I started researching as well that was toy related, but not unproduced toy related, that has an interesting background to it. It's a toy everyone knows, and it has a a meaningful anniversary coming up in a couple of years. So I may or may not pursue that as well. Most of the inner circle that I've told about it really dig the idea. But it's also a toy that's still being manufactured. So I would probably run in again to the issue of having to get that signed off on. But who knows? It could be Toys of Time for God Volume 4.
Very nice.
I'm not going to say no to it, but that's not the plan right now, at least.
Right. Well, good luck on all those projects. I mean, it sounds like you're keeping busy, and you have some great subjects. I mean, that video game concept is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to do that one, and the other thing was maybe you just do it and dump it on the internet. But then I was like, well, I don't know if I want to do that per se. But there's a lot of books out there that dabble in this. I just bought. There's a French independent publisher in France who apparently has written a dual LucasArts, a pair of compendiums or whatever you want to call them. And according to the table of contents, anyway, they talk about some of these games that I want to talk about. So I'm very curious to see what they were able to get away with.
Wow.
I'm thinking they probably didn't do it. They probably did it without permission.
Right.
But at the same time, to have that in my corner and to be able to go, well, what about these guys? I mean, I hate to be that guy necessarily, but if it comes down to Disney saying, well, we would never have books like that out there, and then I can just throw them these books and say, well, they're out there already, so why don't we do something together?
Right.
I don't know. That'll be a tough nut to crack if it comes down to it, but I haven't totally given up on it yet.
Gotcha. So the book is Toys That Time Forgot, Volume 3. The Kickstarter begins February 10th, 2021. Do yourself a favor. If this is the first time you've picked it up, I cannot recommend this book any more than I possibly can. Volumes 1 and 2 are already out there. If you can find them, wonderful. Share them with your friends. Just be there for Kickstarter February 10th for Toys That Time Forgot Volume 3. You will not be disappointed. I just want to throw out a thank you to Mr. Blake Wright for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Good luck on your show.
Yeah, something you actually said in our first interview. I always think back to it when I'm doing our other podcast, is that there's so many toy people who had passed away, and those stories are gone because of that.
Yeah, I mean,
so in a way, you're like a historian in a way in this stuff, and that's how I kind of think of.
Yeah, people have called me an archaeologist, a detective, a historian, whatever, and I'll take all the titles. I mean, that's fine, but at the same time, what you're saying is dead on. If you don't get a microphone in front of these guys, they're going to pass away.
And there goes all that information.
And it's because if you're, like I said, if you were 30 making toys in the 80s, you're 70 now, 70 plus. And
it's something I try to keep in mind when I'm working on something, that you want to get that story.
Yeah.
So
truthfully, that's probably the greatest incentive for me not to stop. Is that because if I take a couple of years off, who do we lose in the gap?
And there's nobody else doing it.
And there's nobody else doing it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not looking to hand off the baton or anything, but yeah, there's no one out there doing it. There's some folks that do YouTube shows and that sort of thing. Yeah. No one's doing it to the degree that I'm doing it. And yeah, so it's a good point to be able to say that, if I don't keep, seeking these guys out, we may lose some really cool stories. But hopefully, if I don't keep doing them, someone will pick up the baton and start doing them.
Well, we hope you keep doing it for a long time. So thank you, Mr. Blake Wright. Toys That Time Forgot, February 10th, Volume 3. Do yourself a favor, just get it. Even if it's just one copy. Because I am curious about this whole playset or stuff here.
Deluxe package.
Deluxe package, thank you.
I think that's what we called it.
Yeah. We're going to do the news right now, so you're more than welcome to join us. If not, thank you for being on the show.
I'll stick around.
Awesome. Cool. So let's do some news, Ian.
All right.
So something said real quick. Actor Dustin Diamond's Screech Powers has died at the age of 44.
Yeah, it's a stage 4 cancer, lung cancer, I believe.
He announced it 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's like, boom. And we just lost Christopher Plummer as well.
Yes.
At age 91.
Yeah. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's very young.
Yeah, we're close to his age.
I'm a year older. I'll put it that, so it's like,
That's a shame he never made it to the reboot.
Yeah, they were saying there was talks for the second season for him to come back maybe somehow. No, unfortunately, of course.
Yeah. So Marvel Legends has announced a 6-inch Maestro figure available for pre-order right now on Hasbro Pulse and other retailers. Now, at the $30 price point, some fans are feeling cheated because they're expecting to get more accessories for the price point. Now, believe it or not, this figure was originally solicited for $50. Crazy. But I don't know. I'm not a huge Maestro fan, but this looks like a good figure. Very comic accurate.
I don't even know who he is, to be honest with you. He looks like the Hulk with a beard.
He's basically that.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, in the comics, he's kind of like an overlord.
Oh, okay.
Comics. Yeah. It is retailing for $30 and will be out this August. And then Colossus and Juggernaut, the Marvel Legends 2-pack, will be shipping in June if you missed the original. And then here's something exciting. From our friends over at Super 7, this is the box artwork for the Thunder Tank. The massive $450 vehicle for the Thundercats.
How big do you think... Oh, I'm sorry, Tom. How big do you think this box will be? Bigger than Snake Mountain, or...?
No, not that big, but...
Big enough.
I mean, yeah, it'll be comparable. The artwork is by Jason Edmonston and is now available for pre-order from Super 7, but now everyone's jumped in on this. You have so many places to purchase, but here's the best part. Because it's a hefty price tag, you have a lot of options. You have partially, which is what Super 7's offering. Big Bad Toy Store is offering payment plans. And also Sideshow, which a lot of people are going to because you can actually have a longer layaway type of payments.
I think it's good that these companies are starting to do this now. Because if you're a collector and you don't have that money the first time, but you have a little bit of it, or you can get enough of it for that first payment,
right?
It's a great way to continue collecting without having to sit on the sideline like, oh, I can't afford this one either. It's frustrating when you really want to collect something, but you don't have the money. So this is kind of a nice way for sort of everybody to win.
Absolutely. And like Blake was mentioning before about shipping and weight. Now, if you log on to super7.com for international collectors, you have a long list of retailers now. So you don't have to break the bank even more. So that's kind of nice.
Never really thought about that. Yeah.
So Pixel Dan recently spoke to our friends over at Super 7, Brian Flynn. And yes, folks, we are getting Ultimates Silverhawk figures. Unfortunately, because of COVID and shipping and all these other things, we're not going to probably see the first figure for at least 3 months. And then probably ordering it a little bit later after. And let's face it, we're probably going to see the majority of it in 2022. I could be wrong, but that's my theory.
You're right.
Now, yeah, I mean, everybody is getting delays right now. Brian was talking about Chinese New Year's.
Yeah, Chinese New Year's happening right now. So they just shut down for a month, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get anything out of China until March.
Right. And then McFarlane Toys just announced that they were able to get Kickstarter Spawn out. However, they're looking for a spot right now because all the docks are so overloaded that they're waiting for a spot just to get unloaded. Not even, clearing customs and stuff. So, I mean, that's the reality we're living in right now. I mean, I don't think it's too bad for collectors. We will eventually see this stuff. We just need to be a little bit more patient
and it's a chance to save up for it.
Just get busy refilling your wallet.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
See a penny, pick it up.
Thunder tank.
Yeah. So Mezco Toys has announced a couple of things. This is the Spider-Man villain. Morbius, thank you. I'm losing it. He the 112 collection, so you're getting quality stuff. 30 points of articulation, 3 head portraits, approximately 17 centimeters tall. You're getting just the usual Mezco treatment. I mean, look how beautiful this head is. And now he's got an open mouth head.
Yeah, the fangs are really pretty cool.
Yeah. $85 retail at mezco.com, mezcotoys.com. And now he comes with a mobile laboratory.
Oh, wow.
Now, instead of having parts of the figure light up, it lights up in his laboratory. I mean, look at all this cool stuff. Yeah. That's not bad for $85.
Actually, before you put this picture up, I was thinking, okay, you're just getting sets of hands, a couple of heads, but this is pretty cool.
Yeah, Mezco always takes care of their customers. I do like the witch looking hands, the wide,
the long fingered, yeah.
Now Mezco also sent out a press release recently about the delays. I know I'm still waiting for my Christopher Reeve Superman. So it's coming. You just got to be patient. So unfortunately, like I said, this is the world we're living in right now. And along the lines of delays, the Valaverse, Bobby Vala, who we spoke with last week or 2 weeks ago, he announced that Action Force will be delayed and will not be shipping in March as previously expected. So hopefully we'll get those figures by springtime.
And it's got to be frustrating for the creator, just as much as maybe more so for the fan, for how much work that goes into this. And you're like, Blake, you could probably even agree on that. Like, you put so much work into it and heart and soul, and then for whatever reason something gets pushed back or delayed, and it's just like you just want to release it to the world for them to finally see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's same thing happens to me because the books are printed in China, so I've got to bring them over on a boat too. So it would be the same situation if I had a book. One of the books was trying to get a space at LA port because it's sitting out on a boat in the middle of the water. Yeah, I mean, I can totally relate to it. Hopefully, by the time the book rolls around,
everything will smooth out.
Yeah, we're not, because I'm sure the docks aren't fully staffed because of COVID or what have you.
Yeah.
And get back to business of everyone, being able to work within 6 feet of one another or whatever the protocol is going to be.
Yeah, and even Super 7 or Brian just said recently that prices will be going up because China's looking for cheaper factories now.
Yeah. China's trying to transition away from being a manufacturer.
Right.
A manufacturing outlet. I mean, there are other countries over that you can go to, and some companies have already moved some stuff out of China. It's just a matter of being able to find the right situation that marries the price you need and the quality that's desired. But yeah, no, it'll be a challenge going forward. I mean, it's definitely tough sledding. We had oil prices tank, the way they did, and we saw absolutely no relief on the plastics end when it came to manufacturing toys and action figures. Prices didn't go down; they went up.
Yeah, they're just gonna keep going up.
Yeah.
Right. I'm afraid you're right.
So G.I. Joe Fortnite Snake Eyes with a new color scheme. Now this one has gray highlights as compared to an all black Snake Eyes that we're used to seeing, especially in the classified lines. Now you're also going to get, besides the figure, the wacky Fortnite accessories. And then this is a pre-order at HasbroPulse.com for $39.99. I don't know. I prefer getting just a classified figure.
It looks like a plunger, that one thing.
It probably is.
Okay.
I mean, Fortnite does some crazy stuff.
I'm thinking, like, I don't remember Snake Eyes using a plunger in any of the G.I. Joes I saw. But he looks cool, but I would just want like the basic figure and maybe the wolf that he had in the cartoons, but that's about it.
So also from Hasbro, the Star Wars Black Series Gaming Greats Cal Kestis figure from Jedi Fallen Order. And this is a GameStop exclusive, and he does come with a somewhat of plethora of accessories. He comes with 2 lightsabers, a hood, a hollow cube, BD-1, and a bogling.
Bogling.
Now, this is an updated costume from his previous release, and he'll be out on GameStop in June. It is also one of the first of the Gaming Greats line that Hasbro is putting out in conjunction with Star Wars.
Okay.
I mean, if you're a fan of the video game, I'm not a big gamer. But
yeah, or you're a Star Wars completist, and you need to own everything. The Bogling's cool looking. I like his name too, but after a while, it gets to be like, I can't afford it, or I can't afford it, or am I going to put it?
Right.
Do I open it? Do I not open it? It's a lot of decisions for toy makers. Actually, I can't sleep at night sometimes from it.
But you have to give it up to Hasbro. They're trying their best to get other consumers now.
Yeah, not putting out like
cool
20
stuff.
Luke Skywalkers. Although if they want to put out a Luke Skywalker Black Series from The Mandalorian, I say go for it. But
it'll happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Boss Fight Studios, now this is cool, has announced
this is very cool.
A Popeye line. Wave 1 will include Popeye, olive oil, Bluto, and castor oil. Now, these figures, according to Boss Fight, are inspired by their 1930s appearance in Thimble Theater.
So, Thimble Theater.
Oh, what did I say? Sorry.
Thimble. That's all right. Go back for a second. So now, the little baby, that's Sweet Pea, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay. That second head for him, he is one pissed off baby. But yeah, these are the level, the points for articulation is great on this at the knees and everywhere, the elbows, just to make, if you wanted to do toy photography, if you wanted to do stop motion, this looks like it's just built for it.
Right. Yeah, the accessories are pretty cool too, with swappable hands.
Oh, there's who's it? Jeep, whatever his name is.
Jeep.
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure that's.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So these will be launching later in the year, and Boss Fight has also said the action figures is not where we're going to stop. They're going all out on this license, which is pretty cool.
For Popeye?
For Popeye.
So you might see like Sea Hag or Popeye's boat, or.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they're going to continue the line, but they're coming out with other stuff as well.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
Popeye's coming back.
Flash Gordon had the lunchbox from them, so
That's
I'm
cool.
sure we'll see something like that.
Yeah.
Well, if you really think about it, Popeye never really left because Mezco did the Popeye figure.
I think the big thing is that kids 20 and down have no idea who Popeye is.
No, that's a shame because
he's a great cartoon. It's great. I meant the video game, the Robin Williams movie.
Those Mezco figures, the Popeye figures, are the only 112s that I bought.
Really? Okay.
I have both. I have the standard one. I have the Sailor that was the exclusive, and I bought the Bluto 2 package. You have to have Bluto.
Right.
And the boss fight stuff looks awesome.
Yes.
And I'm sure they will be because their stuff is normally pretty quality. And you're right, Popeye is coming back because I read recently where I think maybe it was Sony or somebody else restarted the Gendy Tarakovsky development of that Popeye, which if you go out to YouTube and type in Gendy's name and
the trailer,
you'll be able to see that. It's not even a trailer. It was just
it was like a short. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good too.
It was like a test thing, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
I really, really dig it. And I said, I hope that's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, good. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always had a soft spot for Popeye in my heart. I mean, I can remember it was the very first animated show I've ever seen in my life. And that's when I got hooked on, being an animation junkie.
Now, do you remember so we have Popeye's Chicken. Do you remember when they actually had Popeye's merchandise of Popeye?
I remember when I was young, I got like
back
a
in
Bendy figure.
Yeah, exactly.
For Christmas.
Which I guess they switched it. I don't know when, but now it's like a Cajun style chicken. But I remember I was like, whatever happened to like Popeye? I remember he was like, you used to get like a Happy Meal or their equivalent of like a little figure. And all of a sudden it switched. It was strange to me.
So Hot Toys is releasing a Batman and Robin figures based on the Val Kilmer movie Batman and Robin.
I think they need to turn Robin around.
Yeah.
That's not a good. There's something wrong with that picture there.
That's
We are a family show, Tommy.
That's been a big complaint amongst fans. I mean, it's great for Chris O'Donnell.
He's gonna get
worked in forever, but
that they're doing the figures, period, is probably worth scratching your head over, let alone the endowment bestowed on Mr. O'Donnell.
And if you actually notice, they removed the nipples from this Batman suit.
Yes, but Robin has them.
Robin has them. And
the thing is, like, I can't unsee it now because it's just like there.
I'm sure 66 Robin's jealous. He's like, they didn't do that to my suit.
I wear tights.
So Naked Toys has released a Batman Batarang replica and will be at Walmart for $14.99.
That's a pretty cool price.
If you log into the NECAstore.com, you can actually get a chance to purchase the Splinter and Shredder movie 2-pack, along with a Foot Soldier movie accurate 2-pack.
Oh, very cool.
So this is great. I mean, NECA has heard fans complaining about Target and all these specialty stores, and they're actually doing something about it, which is great. Now, there isn't a pick yet, but from Big Bad Toy Store, there will be a Masters of the Universe Origins Faker figure coming from Mattel.
So, Tom, as a He-Man guy, what do you think? Do you think they'll go with the blue skin, or like was he always blue skinned Faker?
Yeah, well, except in the Filmation cartoon. And
did he actually look like He-Man in the Filmation cartoon?
Yeah, it was basically just
Same
He-Man with bright eyes.
No mustache like for the evil version?
No. But Super Sevens was the only company that's actually made that version. So I'm sure the Origins version, which is based on the vintage line, is going to come out with the blue skin, and hopefully you'll have that sticker with the rotating gears. Tweeterhead has also announced, this just came out, a Tila statue.
if that's what the statue is going to look like, that's actually great work.
You know what?
Product may vary, he says, but
yeah, because I'll be honest with you, the statues are okay. The busts, in my opinion, not so great. They came out with the She-Ra bust not too long ago. It just didn't sit well with me. I mean, that's just my personal opinion, but Tweeterhead's been up and down with me. So, some more delays. Pixel Dan's The Toys of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe and the Compendium, if you purchase it from PowerCon, are both delayed until April 27th. They're supposed to come out later this month, but printing delays, I'm sure.
Or it's the same issue with
yeah, it's all over now.
Yeah. That's got to get frustrating. Again, like I said, like I would probably be like, if I was the writer of the book, I would probably be like, oh, come on.
But on the plus side, though, international collectors have different ways of getting it. Big Bad Toy Store is now selling the books in Canada. So you don't have to pay those outstanding shipping prices, which is kind of nice. Now, volumes of, I guess Volume 2 now was also featured in Big Bad Toy Store, correct? Or
Yeah, Big Bad has Volume 2 in stock right now. That's their third reorder. So
wow.
They sell through them pretty good. They ordered Volume 1s too towards the end of the run and sold through on those as well.
Wow.
And I suspect they will be back for Volume 3.
Nice. So McFarlane Toys has two versions of the Batman Beyond figure. There's the standard release and then the Target only release, which is the Build-A-Figure. Now, the major difference is basically the head on the figure. If you want a more detailed face expression from Terry, then the general release is for you. If you like that dark, more comic booky, head, along with the Build-A-Figure, then the Target exclusive is the way to go.
See, the Target one has different hands too for accessories.
Yeah, he also comes with batarangs.
Yeah, and the General Animated has the flames for the rocket boots.
Correct.
So that's a kind of a tough call in a way.
Yeah, I like the Target exclusive better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love that mask feel.
Yeah, looks like it's got a more pointy jaw as well, from what I can tell from the picture. But it is. They are quite nice looking.
Right. And then recently, Ethan Van Sciver has announced not so much a delay, but he's waiting for his books to ship before he would solicit his Cyberfrog action figures. So, again, we're probably going to end up waiting till 2022 just to see these figures. So, if 2020 was kind of a culture shock, 21, I guess, will be, a waiting pattern, really, because we're going to get a whole bunch of cool things in 22.
Yeah, it's going to be like Christmas 2022.
Yeah. But, I mean, we still have some stuff to look forward this year, like our beloved Razor Crest. I can't wait for this thing. Can't wait to take pictures of it. So here's something cool that you'll be interested in, Ian. Disney and other theme parks will be opening soon if California bill passes.
Okay. That's good. Definitely good news for them.
Definitely good news.
Especially the poor people, the cast members.
I was just going to say, I hope they said they were going to lay off like 23,000 people or something.
And that's been not just Disneyland, but Disney World has lost a lot of cast members. Not even just part-time or some full-timers, but like the college program was shut down for a while. International cast members coming over to work in Epcot, that's been, I think, put on hold for a while now. So this crisis is just it really has affected everything, and it starts with one thing and it affects this and affects that, and it's like a domino effect where jobs and people out of work and money or people getting sick, and it's just like this overall like cluster where like it's like unbelievable what this thing has affected, and hopefully it'll soon get under hand and people can start having some kind of normal life again.
So PowerCon, because of COVID, has recently released, I guess, surveys and asking people if they would actually attend PowerCon this year, September 11th and 12th, if the bill passes. So I remember I got one recently, and, I mean, if you use precautions, I'll, maintain safe distance, I'll wear a mask, and hopefully I can see some people and have a good time like we do every year. So good luck to PowerCon. I would love to see it. The big question is, do you think San Diego will happen this year?
No.
Too
Too
many
soon.
people. Yeah.
What about like New York? Do you think
Comic-Con?
that's like October? So maybe. Well, then again,
because New York has been such a hotbed for this thing, I would be surprised. Although it really depends on how fast this vaccine gets rolled out.
What do you think about Toy Fair 2022? Do you think that'll definitely happen?
Yeah, that's probably a little too far out to gauge with any sort of certainty. I hope it does.
Yeah.
Right now, their fall show in Dallas in October is still on.
Right.
We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, it comes to the point to where, if the vaccine gets rolled out a little more expeditiously over the spring and summer months, then stuff that's happening in the fall could probably still happen. But it's probably it's going to come down to each individual event's call,
right? Yeah.
Versus whatever like in New York, if the state says, then they can't.
Right. I tell you, this year I missed Toy Fair not coming this year. I know we were just talking about this last week, but that is one of my favorite times of the year is Toy Fair. I love going. It's just such a enjoyable thing to do, and it's almost weird. Like, and I know that probably sounds like, I don't know if that sounds selfish or childish or whatever, but it's an enjoyable thing to go to, and understand why, of course, but it's one of the highlights that I look forward to throughout the year.
So I just want to give a special thank you to Brian Salvatore for our intro and outro music. Help out other collectors at #CollectorsHelpingCollectors or #CHC. Thank you to all our friends at Spectre Creative, and Scott Knightlick and one of his former bosses are currently having a eBay sale. So they have some great stuff. They had a lot of unproduced stuff. One of the items, I believe, is the Spirit of King Grayskull, which is currently going for $9,000.
Wow.
But he is fair. He's taking offers, so who knows? So just follow Spirit of Grayskull on eBay, and you'll find him.
Tom, we've also congratulations are in order for you for your new podcast.
Yep, I was about to mention that.
Oh, good.
If you are a He-Man fan, I've recently started my pet project. I'm having so much fun with it. This is the People of Eternia podcast. Past, present creators of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I am so fortunate to sit down and actually speak to these incredible people. Our first episode was released with the wonderful Scott Knightlick, who was the Classics brand manager. And he's just the beginning. I have so many people. We're going to talk about new adventures, vintage. It's going to be a fun show, and I hope you take the ride with me. It's People of Grayskull. now currently on Podbeam and Apple Podcasts.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So we are now on YouTube. Thanks for subscribing, and hit that button or bell, excuse me. Hit that bell to get updates on what we're doing and on all our episodes. Please join the conversation at toyspodcast@gmail.com. Toy Lines is officially on every platform, so there's no excuse. Please leave us a review or a comment or a subscription. You can do all three. We appreciate it. For all the latest toy news and reviews, log on to toys-lines.com. If you like what you see here, please help out the channel and purchase a t-shirt. Now, I don't believe in Patreon, even though, you get stuff, but you work hard for your money, you should get instantaneous gratification. So if you're inclined, purchase a t-shirt, and we thank you in advance. Also, please enjoy Ian's podcast, Rocketeer Radio. I've spoken with Ian about it. It's a great show, and he's got an amazing guest. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but you do not want to miss Rocketeer Radio.
Thank you, sir.
Follow us on all the social media platforms at Twitter, Instagram at Toylines, and Facebook. You can find us at Twitter. Oh, excuse me. Facebook, you can find us at Toylines or Toy Shelf Magazine. Again, thank you to Mr. Blake Wright. The book is Toys That Time Forgot, Volume 3, and it launches February 10th. Get this book. You will not be disappointed. If you're a toy lover, it should have been ordered yesterday. So thank you, Mr. Wright.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I feel bad that I don't have a podcast to share, though.
Oh, that's fine. And actually, if you want to mention out where people can find you besides Kickstarter.
Yeah. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/toysthattimeforgot. On Instagram, it's at toysthattimeforgot. On Twitter, it's at Blake_E_Wright. And for Moonman Zero stuff, there is facebook.com/Moonman0. And there's also on Instagram at Gibbous Creative.
Oh,
yeah, that's
Gibbous. That's for Moonman Zero.
Right.
I'm gonna check that out.
All
awesome.
of the animation projects going forward are under the Gibbous Creative banner.
Cool.
Awesome. And I also want to throw out a special thank you to all the listeners that emailed us for questions for Mr. Wright. So I'm Tom Romero.
Ian Westhoff.
Play with your toy. What'd you say?
I just said my name. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. And you are, sir.
Blake Wright.
Play with your toys. We'll see you next week.